Hey there, friend. Come sit with me for a minute. Let's imagine it's a soft summer morning in the English countryside, back in the mid-1700s. The family is stirring in their little stone cottage. Dad laces up his boots and heads out to check on the sheep or plow a furrow. Mom sits by the open hearth, her spinning wheel humming gently as she draws out wool into thread, one careful pull at a time. The kids are nearby, maybe feeding the chickens, fetching water from the brook, or helping card the wool so it's ready for spinning. Life feels steady, connected to the land and to each other. The days follow the sun and the seasons. Hard work, yes, but it's the kind of hard that comes with familiar faces, shared suppers, and the comfort of knowing tomorrow will look a lot like today. And then, something wonderful and a little frightening starts to happen. Almost without anyone planning it, the world picks up speed. A new kind of magic appears, machines that can spin thread faster than 10 pairs of hands, looms that clack away day and night, forges that glow so hot they reshape iron like it's soft clay. Steam hisses from iron boilers, turning coal into motion, motion into power, power into more things than anyone ever thought possible. What used to take weeks of careful handwork now pours out of workshops in hours. Everyday folks who once made one shirt at a time suddenly see piles of cotton cloth, soft, colorful, affordable, stacked high in markets. This gentle giant of a change is what we call the Industrial Revolution. It began quietly in Britain around the 1760s and then rolled across the world like a warm tide that sometimes lifted people up and sometimes knocked them off balance. It changed how we work, where we live, what we own, how we dream. It brought dazzling possibilities and real heartache side by side. Let me take your hand and walk you through it, nice and easy, the way I'd tell it over a cup of tea. First, let's step back into that peaceful pre-machine world and see why Britain was the perfect place for this big leap to begin. By the middle of the 1700s, Britain had already enjoyed a quiet revolution on the farms. People figured out smarter ways to grow food, rotating crops so the soil stayed happy, breeding stronger sheep and cattle, using better plows and seed drills. Fields that once lay empty part of the year now produced year-round. Fewer children went hungry, families grew bigger, the population climbed steadily, from about 6 million people in England and Wales around 1700 to more than 9 million by 1800. At the same time, Britain was sitting on treasure. Huge seams of coal right under the ground, especially up north and in the Midlands. Iron ore was close by too. Rivers gave power to early water wheels and carried boats full of goods. Ports bustled with ships bringing in raw cotton from faraway places, India, the American South, the Caribbean. And maybe the most special ingredient? A spirit of curiosity and courage. Merchants were willing to invest money in new ideas. Inventors loved tinkering in sheds and workshops. People believed that if you worked hard and thought cleverly, you could build something better. The world felt ready, like it was holding its breath, waiting for the first big step. That step came from something soft and everyday, cotton cloth. Cotton felt like a miracle fabric, light, breathable, washable, perfect for shirts and dresses. But spinning and weaving it by hand was slow. One person could only make so much in a day. Then kind, clever folks started solving the problem one invention at a time. In 1764, James Hargreaves, a warm-hearted carpenter and weaver from Lancashire, watched his daughter Jenny knock over her spinning wheel. The spindle kept turning on its side. That little accident sparked an idea. Why not put lots of spindles on one frame? He built the spinning jenny, letting one worker spin 8 threads, then 16, then more. Suddenly, a single person could do the work of many. A few years later, Richard Arkwright came along with his water frame in 1769. It used the steady power of a river to turn strong, even thread, perfect for weaving into sturdy cloth. Arkwright didn't just invent a machine, he built the first real factories. Big buildings where rows of machines hummed together and workers came in shifts. Then Samuel Crompton, a gentle weaver who wanted to make the very finest yarn for his own family, created the spinning mule in 1779. It combined the best of the jenny and the water frame, producing beautiful, strong thread in huge amounts. Cotton cloth went from being something special to something almost everyone could afford. Britain's textile industry exploded. Families moved to river valleys where water turned the wheels. Parents and children worked side by side, keeping the machines fed and happy. But rivers could be unreliable, frozen in winter, low in summer, so people kept dreaming. That's when steam stepped in like a patient friend who'd been waiting in the wings. Back in 1712, Thomas Newcomen had built a clunky but useful steam engine to pump water out of flooded coal mines. It worked, but it ate coal like a hungry giant. Then along came James Watt, a thoughtful, soft-spoken Scottish man who fixed instruments for a living. In the 1760s and 1770s, working with his business partner Matthew Boulton, Watt made the engine much smarter and far more efficient. His separate condenser meant less coal wasted, more steady power. By the 1780s, Watt engines were turning factory shafts, driving looms and spindles without needing a river nearby. Factories moved closer to coal mines in bustling towns like Manchester, Birmingham, Leeds, Sheffield. Coal mines dug deeper. Ironworks roared louder. The whole country felt the pulse of something new. Transportation caught up too. Canals were dug to carry coal and iron cheaply. Then, in 1829, George Stephenson's little locomotive Rocket won a famous race and showed the world that steam trains could work. Rails started snaking across the landscape, linking cities, carrying people and goods faster than anyone had ever traveled before. Britain became known as the workshop of the world. By the 1830s, it was making more iron, more coal, more cotton goods than any other country. Its ships carried raw cotton in one direction and beautiful printed fabrics back the other way. But here's the honest part, friend. None of this happened without growing pains. People poured into the new towns looking for work. Villages that had been quiet for centuries suddenly became noisy, crowded cities. Manchester went from a small market town to a city of hundreds of thousands in just a few decades. Houses went up fast, row after row of simple brick terraces, often 1 or 2 rooms for an entire family. No indoor toilets, open drains ran down the middle of streets. Smoke from thousands of chimneys turned the sky gray and coated everything in soot. Inside the factories, the days were long, 12, 14, sometimes 16 hours. Machines didn't have safety guards. Fingers and arms could get caught. The noise never stopped. Cotton dust filled the air and settled in lungs. Children as young as 5 or 6 worked too. Their small hands were perfect for reaching into tight spaces to fix broken threads. Wages were often low, especially for women and kids. Families sometimes barely made enough to eat. And yet, for many people, factory work was still better than the life they'd left behind. A steady paycheck, even a small one, beat watching crops fail or waiting for seasonal farm jobs that might never come. Some families felt proud to be part of this new world. They sent their children to Sunday schools, saved pennies for a better tomorrow. Society started to change shape in beautiful and difficult ways. A whole new middle class grew up. Factory owners, engineers, shopkeepers, teachers. They built comfortable homes a little way outside the smoke, read books, played pianos, dreamed of sending their sons and daughters to school. Workers, though, began to stand together. They formed friendly societies and early unions, even when the law tried to stop them. Groups like the Luddites broke machines they thought were stealing their livelihoods. Later, the Chartists marched and petitioned for the right to vote and have a real say in how the country was run. Slowly, change came.
Laws limited how many hours children could work. Factories had to provide some schooling. Towns started building proper sewers and clean water supplies. Life got a little safer, a little fairer. And the revolution didn't stay in Britain. The ideas, the machines, the dreams spread to Belgium, to France, to Germany, to America. Each place added its own flavor to the story. In the end, the people who lived through those smoky, noisy years walked out into a brighter world in many ways. Clothes became cheaper and prettier. Everyday folks could own more than one good shirt or dress. Tools, pots, pans, soap, candles, all the little things that make life easier cost less. Trains and steamships shrank the world, letting families visit distant relatives or start fresh somewhere new. Schools opened everywhere so workers could read instructions, write letters, dream bigger dreams. Life stretched out a little longer as food got more reliable and medicine slowly improved. The old ties that kept people glued to one village or one lord loosened. You could move, change jobs, try something new. The idea took root that tomorrow could be better than today, not because of fate or luck, but because people could invent, build, and improve. Artists and writers felt it too. Some, like the Romantic poets, looked back with longing at the green fields that were disappearing under brick and smoke. Others celebrated the energy, the power, the sense that humans were reaching higher than ever before. The Industrial Revolution showed us something deep about ourselves. We can take the forces of nature, fire, steam, iron, and shape them into tools that lift millions of lives. It created wealth and comfort on a scale our ancestors could hardly imagine. It also asked hard questions about fairness, about caring for each other, about protecting the air and water we all share. Empty lanes where children once played, tall chimneys reaching into gray skies, the steady heartbeat of machines, hope shining through the soot. Does any of that feel far away to you? Or does it feel a little like our own time, full of exciting new inventions, big changes, tough choices, and the same old human wish to make tomorrow kinder than today? This was one of the greatest adventures humanity ever took. It tested our cleverness, our kindness, our courage. And the lessons it taught us? They're still right here, whispering in our ears whenever we face a new revolution, whether it's electricity, computers, or whatever comes next. I'm Zahid, walking through history with you, one warm story at a time, so we can understand where we've been and maybe catch a glimpse of where we're going. Thank you for spending this time with me. Together, we keep the past alive, breathing, and close to our hearts. I'll see you in the next chapter, friend.